There's more Academy grads here than there is prior enlistments. Bright color. Prior Coast Guard.
I thought of that when it comes to coming through. So about 4 months ago, I'm trying to get it off that thing.
I'm going to delay. Yeah, I might get it. This side, that side.
So the flag will be there, the American flag. Darren will be reading the photo op if you want. I had planned on doing it over there just so it was quick, but I can
Darren seems like the guy.
I can work in the background of the squirrel.
I think it is.
Better than over here with the table.
Can I change one thing? An invocation is invoking the presence, asking the presence of the Lord, and we're actually starting doing something before the invocation. Could you do the invocation right after the introduction of the presence? Which should also make sense because people have been moving around and up and down, and I'll be happy.
I just have to.
Okay.
Chaplain, we can do this anytime you like.
Right after the introduction of the last guest.
And then the remembrance day.
Right, because, yeah.
It's going to be what it is.
Okay.
This is why.
It didn't get on the agenda, so I just guessed.
Who's a good guess? Who's a good guess? Something just told me to come up and look, and there it was.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask you to take your seats, please. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are you hearing me? Not yet. Not surprising. This is not uncommon. Give me a moment. Always count to 3. Okay. Let's try that again. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you to rise for the arrival of the colors? Color guard, post the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I'd like to thank the Color Guard for the great work this weekend. It means a great deal to have these properly done. Good evening. My name is Darren Lewis. I'm your Master of Ceremonies tonight. I would like to introduce our guest as we start this evening. I would like to start with the District 13 Commander, Rear Admiral Fossey. Welcome, sir. We have the Commander of Sector Puget Sound, Captain McDonald. Thank you for joining us, sir. We have the Deputy Sector Commander of Sector Columbia River, Captain McLay, and his wife, Rebecca. Thank you. We have our Sector Columbia River OIA, Lieutenant Saylor, and his fiancée, Elizabeth. We have the Deputy National Commodore, Pacific Area and Recreational Boating Safety, our own Tiny Singler. We have our Director of Auxiliary, Commander Jansen. And the absolutely indispensable YN1 Chang. We have a number of past Commodores in attendance of District 13. Commodore Singler, who's already been introduced, and Commodore Dean Weimer. Commodore Weimer, thank you, sir. That brings us to our invocation. Chaplain Porter, if you'd come forward, please.
Before I start to pray, I have to say it is such a wonderful thing to see so many people that are so excited about what they do, and to have a chance to spend time with one another, and not only to fellowship, but there's some work that gets done when we do these things. But let's please, I'll ask you to please bow your heads while I pray. Gracious God, Heavenly Father of us all, thank you for this opportunity to fellowship and to celebrate the accomplishments during this year. I thank you for all of the active duty who have taken the time to come and celebrate with us. And I thank you for each and every member and the significant other portion of their lives that have come to also celebrate with them. I ask your presence as we continue with the evening. It's in your name that I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Gail, and thank you for providing the invocations as we celebrate together this weekend. I'd like to call on Flotilla Commander of Flotilla 7-3, Jim Fensky, to draw our attention to the remembrance table.
Before we take part in our dinner this evening, I would like to call your attention to a table you may have noticed as you entered the room tonight. It is reserved to honor our service members that have made the ultimate sacrifice. I would like to explain the meaning of the items on this table. The table is small, set for one, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the life of each of our fallen comrades and the loved ones and friends of these comrades who keep the faith. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, symbol of our continued determination to remember our fallen comrades. A slice of lemon on the bread plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of those who will never return. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears endured by the families of those who have sacrificed all. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us at this time. The chair is empty because they are no longer with us. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifice. May they and their families ever be watched over and protected. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I think if we don't start the dinner service, the poor folks standing over here with salad plates will be upset. So we're going to have our dinner now. After dinner, we'll return to our program. Just to notice, we are streaming live. Just to our shipmates who can't be here with us today, this is something, obviously we did a lot of these meetings virtually during COVID, and we're trying to continue that to give a little bit more access to the folks who can't be with us. So if you're up here at the podium, just notice the mic is hot. So thank you very much. Enjoy your dinners.
It was a very small, not a very
Well, good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to, I think, has everyone's plates been cleared? It looks like we're doing fairly well. There's always the wave across the dining room, so it's always good to double check. Hope you enjoyed your dinner. Thank you all very much for being here this evening. It's we didn't get to do this for a while, and we've had a few back now, and these mean a great deal to me. I really enjoy this, this time that we get together. So I'm super excited to be here with you tonight, and thank you to all of our guests who've attended. It means a great deal. So as we start our program, I think we are starting with Commodore Keenly. Sir, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening, and thank you again for being here. I just can't say that enough. At the beginning of the year, I stated that I really believe that this is going to be the year that we get the district back on the map, and I think we've done that, and it makes me really happy. We've had some real challenges in the last couple of years. We all know that. But we're back to serving the U.S. Coast Guard and the recreational boating public. And in our way, I absolutely believe we're saving lives. As predicted, the momentum of the boat sales just continues into the year. Last year was a healthy year for recreational boating, following records in 2022. And if you think that number is being affected by the big yachts, no. Remind you that 95% of boats in America, in the U.S., are under 25 feet. So it's the folks we're after that are out there. We're seeing continue healthy demand in 2023. And in short, we'll continue to have our job cut out for us for the rest of the year. In addition to the growth, we are experiencing a critical need for auxiliary recruiting and retention. As you remember, District 13 membership fell a ways in 2022, and we really need to do better than that. My operational plan calls for an increase in membership of 10% in 2023. How are we doing? We're doing well, but we need to continue to focus on that. We need to continue to focus our efforts on the critical areas and see what we can do. Lastly, in addition to the critical needs for recruiting and retention, we continue to focus on training our replacement. Succession planning requires us to identify critical offices and develop plans for members to assume our positions. Again, we're doing well, but we need to continue that effort as well. My watchwords, if you look at the operational plan, and you notice every time I speak, I mention the operational plan, include focused. We direct our efforts toward achieving auxiliary goals through concentration, through discussion, and attention to the needs of the organization. Professional. We perform our missions to the highest standards of the U.S. Coast Guard as reflected in our dress, action, and behavior toward others. And lastly, resilient. We recover from or adjust easily to difficult situations. So yes, 2023 has been challenging, but we're doing well, and we will continue to be ready to serve the U.S. Coast Guard and in our way save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Commodore. We also have our Deputy National Commodore, Pacific Area, and Recreational Boating Safety, our friend Tiny Singler. Commodore, the floor is yours.
Thanks, sir. I'm making my legs follow the body. Admiral, captains, lieutenant, master chief, it's great to see all of you here tonight. And I tell you what, it was the greatest weekend so far. I saw a buzz going on that's unbelievable. And I always say it, and you've heard me before, when there's a buzz, there's laughter, there's enjoyment, there's passion, and that's what I see in this group here. And what we got to do, and you have been doing, I went to a flotilla meeting Friday night, one of the best flotilla meetings I've been, even though I was one Wednesday night was good too. But I saw a young man that they had recruited, and I've got to mention this, within a year, less than a year, OXA, all the ICS courses, involved with marine safety, everything else. Well, guess what? He's joined the Coast Guard. Now, I'll tell you what I asked him, though, because he got up and he's talking and he's telling how well he likes the auxiliary and everything. I said, please remember that 2 years from now, okay? So, you know, just a little bit about what's going on in National. We have a work group that's putting together requests for forces. It's becoming electronic. This is in order for us to try to augment the Coast Guard itself. It's going to be where it'll pick up out of AD2 or Ox Data 2, and it will, Coast Guard says we need a position filled, and what it'll do is it'll say whether we have anybody trained for it or not, but what it will do is by putting this together and the Coast Guard letting us know what they want, we can then start training our people to try to fill those positions. And we've got some challenges there because that we know that the numbers are down on Coast Guard right now, and they're trying to recruit too. But, you know, when we're out there and we're recruiting for our membership, we should be helping all we can with the recruiters too. And I know even one of my new members that's been only a year and a quarter, but once again, he's one of these people, pardon me, I'm talking to the mic saying pardon me, but don't mind me. But anyway, he's all of these things too. Well, he's already got a hold of recruiters and got some stuff, and he's going to do it in certain areas in Southern Oregon. You know, that's what it's all about. But, you know, what we do is when we go out there, to me, Dan said it, but you guys have heard me say it a million times. I honestly believe we save lives. Every time we talk to somebody, every time we do a public education class, every time we're out on one of our facilities and talking to the public out there, I've always said, and you've heard me before, if they only retain a little bit of what we've, said to them, then we have either saved their life, a member of their family, a friend, or somebody they don't even know. And that's the things we do. And if we ever lose that passion, if I lose that passion, I'll tell Commander Jansen, I'll tell Dan, I'll tell National, I'll say I'm going home, okay? Because that's what we have to believe in and what I do. If you doubt me, open door policy. I don't think there's some people in this room I know that have called me at home before, okay? Whether it's a question about training or whatever. Have I ever told anybody you need to go through your chain of leadership and management? Yeah, I do. But I answer your question, okay? And I help you do whatever you need to do. And I see people in the room. I mean, it's interesting because I'm going to say it again today. Somebody said if we had a quarter for every time we mentioned his name today, we'd be rich. But John Sturr, my wife used to say, it's John, I need to stop talking. Because that's how we talked on a daily basis, and that's the help you have. Got Carol, Bulldog, okay, over there, all right? And she gets the job done. Henry, I don't know if he's somewhere in here. I asked him 4 years ago, 5 years ago, can you keep me a list together of people's training? You know what? He's kept it together the whole time. She keeps a list that I know she still gives to Dan that has every new member listed when she gets it, when it goes to DIROCS, if the paperwork's right, and if it's not right, that's the reason I call her the Bulldog, because the other person's going to hear about it and get it back, and it's going to come in right. We have a great DIROCS office. Throughout the PAC area, I met some of the best DIROCS offices that I've seen. And if you didn't know, or if you forgot, I started in D1 North, okay? And I was actually in Rhode Island. And I have never seen better, because used to it wasn't the best job in the world, and we weren't thought of. We weren't recognized for what we could do. But you know what kind of changed that? It's just like Jim over there just became a watchstander certified, okay, at Sector, for Sector Columbia River, correct? And that's something I did the first 9 years, and the job I did it at Point Judith, and I'd go there 3 times a week and go there at 6:30 in the afternoon and leave at midnight. Those young people, men and women, appreciated it so much because it gave them time to train, to do other things. But I'd look around, and the next thing I know, they're all out on the water, and I'm in this station by myself, okay? So I'm going, I hope the doors are locked. No. But all jokes aside, I don't want to talk a long time, okay? And the last time, Rear Admiral Bublis now, his wife and my wife were sitting joking, and he was there, and I said that very thing, and he started clapping for me to stop, okay? Now, she asked me when I came back to the table, you do it to him, and nah. Okay, but thank you so much, everyone, and thanks for being here, okay?
Thank you, Tiny. Before I invite the sector commander for his comments, we have a couple other senior officers. Captain McLay, anything you'd like to share with the audience briefly?
Just thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for all the great work you all do.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. Captain McDonald.
Yes, I'd like to just echo Captain Clay's comments. Been in the job for 90 days and are very grateful and very thankful for all the support that we've got across Washington, Idaho, and Montana. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So I'm going to introduce the district commander. We're just going to hit a few bio highlights. Rear Admiral Charles E. Fossey, Commander, 13th Coast Guard District, United States Coast Guard, is our featured speaker this evening. His previous flag officer assignment was as director of the Joint Interagency Task Force West in Camp Smith, Hawaii, up there above Aiea, right, sir? All right, good. I'm a Hawaii boy, so. He's had over 10 years of sea service, including being the commanding officer of the U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Seneca out of Boston, Massachusetts. The Admiral is a graduate in 1992 from the United States Coast Guard Academy. And with that, sir, I would hand the floor to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the District Commander.
Well, thank you so much for the kind introduction and the kind welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. It is just truly a pleasure to be here with you all. For our active duty leadership, thank you for being here. For our auxiliary leadership and membership, thank you for being here. And a special thanks to our family members in the audience for being here as well. Coast Guard at large is a great family, and then our actual family members supporting us is a very special part of what the Coast Guard is all about. We couldn't do what we do without our family members supporting us, whether regardless of the component of the workforce in which we exist. So thank you for gathering for this event. I know twice a year or so you get together for this specific gathering, and then in addition to everything else you do together. Let me just tell you a little bit about the week I've just had. As I am still getting my feet underneath me as the district commander here in District 13. You heard a little bit on my bio, coming from Hawaii there to the Pacific Northwest. I'm still in a little bit of shock that there's actually weather other than sunny weather. We had a great 2 years in Hawaii, but it does kind of thin the blood a little bit and kind of changes your expectations for what every day will bring you, because there might be a little bit of rain, but you're always expecting the sun to come out. And I've been told that I was at an air station in Astoria earlier today, and they said, no, just expect this from now on. Like, well, when's the sun going to come out? And they said, no, like we said, expect this. But we have lived here before. I was in the Coast Guard Cutter Mellon way back when, one of the cutters I was on. So I have lived here before. My wife went to school at University of Washington. So we have a little bit of experience here, but a little bit of shock to the system. But I started this week doing what I love to do, meeting and mingling with the men and women of the United States Coast Guard. We drove down, quick run through the sector, Columbia River, and then down to Station Chetco River. And from there, we just started working our way up from the southernmost station in the district, working our way up the coast, Sector Columbia River Station, surf stations, and just amazing work that the men and women of the Coast Guard are doing at those stations in fairly austere and remote conditions. And it's active duty members, it is reserve members, certainly at the sectors, there's civilian members of our workforce. And everywhere I go, they talk about our auxiliary members as well, participating and acting as force multipliers for the missions that we are conducting every day. So as I worked my way up the coast, ended up in Station Umpqua River and on up, and we finished up at Station Depot Bay yesterday, where I actually got to drive a boat. So my favorite thing to do. You know, everywhere else it was kind of the next visit will get you in the surf. And Station Depot Bay said, "Hey, have you ever driven through the hole?" And I was like, and I kind of knew what the hole was. So I said, "What's the hole? You know, what's the hole?" And I knew what it was, but so then they took me out, and so I got coached by a chief petty officer surfman on driving the boat through the hole, and it was the best thing ever. There's nothing better for me to be out doing the stuff that you guys get to do a whole lot, actually out there driving boats. And doing the things that we love to do as Coast Guard men and women, wherever we are in the organization, serving the public. And but the thing that was missing in all of that week was, you know, intermingling with just folks just like you, our auxiliaries, because I saw active duty, reservists, civilian members, and I just love that I'm capping off the week with our auxiliary workforce, the leadership of that and members of that. So thank you for the opportunity to be with you all. And when we had a meeting of our leadership throughout the district, Commodore Keenley was there with us, talking about strategic action plans, and we talk about what are we going to do as a district to get after the challenges we have in our mission areas, workforce shortages, all the things that are challenging for us as a Coast Guard to serve the public in the way that they expect us to, and they have high expectations, as they should, because the Coast Guard has over 200 years of history in serving the public in a manner that you would expect. And all of us feel pretty darn guilty when we can't meet those expectations as high as they are, but as high as the standards are that we have for ourselves. So we get together to talk about how do we strategize our way into a better place to be able to serve the public. And I really appreciate that the auxiliary was well represented in that discussion. And we talked about strategic priorities of protecting the homeland and partnering with our other agencies to achieve excellence in our mission areas, in our common ethos of protect, defend, and save, and enabling the workforce to do the work that we're asking of them. And all of those things would eventually will find their way on a nice glossy piece of paper, and you can look at and hang on your wall if you choose to. But the important thing is that the auxiliary is front and center in the strategy that we're building for Coast Guard District 13. We are not going to be able to achieve what I expect us to accomplish without all the work that you're doing as a force multiplier. We just don't have the people to do it. We don't have the expertise that you do to get after it. And why would we try to do it without you? Because you are a force multiplier for the work that we're trying to do, not only in District 13, but around the country. But I am just so appreciative for the work that you all do, and that I can lean over to the Commodore and ask for what I need as a district commander that you all are able to provide for us to get after that work. I mean, there's not a whole lot of active duty work I can do in Idaho, but you all can. But then in all the 4-state region that we operate in here in District 13. So just that's a kind of long way to get to a hearty thank you on behalf of the active duty and reserve and civilian workforce to your part of the workforce, our auxiliaries. Just thank you for all you do, the sacrifices that you make to be out there serving the public, just as all the rest of us are together. And you'll hear the Commandant of the Coast Guard talk very frequently about how tomorrow is different, and the Coast Guard must also be different. We can't be the same Coast Guard we were 5 years ago. We can't be the same Coast Guard auxiliary we were 5 years ago. We're going to have to change and adapt. We're going to have to grow the workforce, regrow the workforce. The Coast Guard active duty force right now is working our way towards a 3,500 person deficit. going into the next assignment year. The assignment year itself will be 2,500 people short. So that is a huge challenge, and that's what I'm hearing as I'm talking to folks along the coast is what are we going to do about that? So you all serve a special part of how are we going to do that, because when we do Fleet Week and Seafair and all those things like that, where I met so many auxiliaries during Seafair and Fleet Week, and it was amazing just to see the work that you all are doing there. And it wasn't the first year you've done it. I mean, you've always done that, but it just becomes even more poignant whenever we're so short on the active duty workforce and even our reserve workforce to have you all out there doing the job that you're doing. But when Admiral Fagan says we need to think differently, I invite the Coast Guard Auxiliary to step up and think differently about the additional things that could be done, harnessing the energy of the auxiliary expertise and the talent that you all have in your ranks. There are amazing things that you're doing now that 10 years ago folks didn't think about as much. Just think about all the programs that are in place now above and beyond some of the traditional auxiliary activities. The chaplain program comes to mind, where it's existed for a long time, but it has just grown within District 13. I don't know how we would do what we need chaplain work to be done without our auxiliary chaplains. It's an amazing group doing amazing work, and that's just in one example of many. But think about additional things that could be done with our auxiliaries, cyber, just any number of things that come to mind. But I just invite creative thought on the things that the auxiliary workforce can do. So please, rise those ideas up through the force so that we can take action on those. And we've got a great district staff who's looking over the auxiliary work throughout the district, and they are great in their own rights, but they are open to your suggestions and your thoughts through your auxiliary leadership, and I look forward to hearing those ideas. I'm a big proponent of statistics and measuring the work that we do, and I've got a lot of these statistics that just kind of jump out at me that I'll just mention really quick, but these are things 288 surface patrols, 1,630 hours, 3,883 safety exams, 4,612 program visits, 1,375 hours of culinary support. We all love culinary support. 1,170 watch standing hours, 1,510 hours of auxiliary chaplain support, and there's more than that, but those are just numbers that kind of roll off the tongue of all the things that our auxiliaries have been done. It's a special thing for someone to volunteer to be a Coast Guard auxiliarist, because that is extra time when, I don't know if anybody just has all this extra time on their hands. It's a sacrifice of some sort to do what you all are doing as a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. But then to also take the opportunity to be a leader within the Coast Guard Auxiliary is a special, an exceptional thing to do, because that's just extra time and more responsibility. And I just really appreciate those who step up to the mantle responsibility as a Coast Guard Auxiliary leader, and I'm very thankful for that. And all of you are serving those kind of capacities, and we need more of that. We need more folks to raise their hand and be able to serve in leadership positions, because not all of you can do it forever. You might be ready for someone else to give you a break, give you a breath. So encourage folks around you to step up and do that. And that's a hard sell sometimes for folks, because not everybody is in it for that. But we need to continue to make those requests of folks and encourage folks to step up to that mantle of responsibility and leadership. We're going to do some awards here in a moment, which I'm really excited about, because I think recognizing the great work amongst our various workforces is super important. I was given a list of names to kind of call out for some special recognition for me directly. And I don't know all of these individuals myself, although I really do look forward to getting to know all of you in the room here over time. I've got like 1,000 names in my head of the visits I've made over the last, how many weeks in the job? 6 weeks or so in the job. So forgive me if I don't know all the names, and forgive me if I don't pronounce every name right. But Lyle Schrag, and so OVS deployed to Sector San Juan for chaplain support. Amazing support there, so thank you so much. James Finsky, recognized from Flotilla 73. He's the first qualified radio watchstander there at Sector Columbia River, I understand. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Mary Shuck, administrative support first at MSU Portland, has moved on to Sector Columbia River. Just amazing support on the administrative staff there. Thank you so much. Marcus Smith from Flotilla 62 supporting Air Station Astoria helo training. And I was just, is he here today? Oh, awesome. Okay, thank you so much. I was just at Air Station Astoria today, so my staff, sorry, they gave me extra time since you all spoke so quickly and eloquently. So sorry, I'm gonna drag on just a little bit here with some sea stories. But my staff dropped me off here at the hotel last night so they could get home. Don't tell them I said that, but so they could get home. So they dropped me off, left me to my own devices. And when you leave the Admiral with a government vehicle and time, I'm probably not just going to sit in my hotel room. So I jumped in the car this morning. I drove to Air Station Astoria and knocked on the door. They knew I was coming. But I spent some time. And what did they talk about? They talked about all the great things you guys are doing. And they talked about support for their helo hoisting operations, because that is so important across the board. All of our air stations, they have significant requirements for gaining proficiency in hoist operations. And this is something that they've got to be good at doing in the best of conditions, so then they can work in the worst of conditions. You all do that across the entire district. I'm so appreciative of the fact that you do that, and you're willing to do that when the basket bangs into your boat and does all these things. And I know it's hard work to be done, but thank you so much for doing that. And they are very appreciative, and we're continuing to work on creative and innovative ways to make that easier and better, and kind of, I would say, more to follow. But we've got some things coming down the pike here in the next few months that's going to make helicopter operations a lot more effective for us, and you all are going to play a big part of that. And then Barbara Rockford, if I got that name right, is she with us? I don't know. Okay, well, I met her down at Station Chetco River, a radio watch stander there, but this says 555 hours of radio watch standing. I mean, when I met her, maybe it's better that she's not here, so I don't embarrass her. But I met her, and the whole station kind of surrounded her and said, oh, yeah, she's the best thing in the world for us. Because anytime you got someone who's willing to stand radio watch, and you're at a station, and that allows other people to get underway on the boats, you all know this. That makes a world of difference, and we are so thankful for folks that are willing to do that. So I'm not going to take up more of your time, but I'm really looking forward to the recognition to come. Thank you so much for all you do. I mean, I very earnestly say this, that this is the best way for me to cap off a week, to be here with you all, to just celebrate the Coast Guard Auxiliary, celebrate what you all do. Thank you for all the great work that you do throughout the district, throughout the Coast Guard. I know if Admiral Fagan was here, she would say that, of the portions of the workforce, we count on each one of them just to do wonderful things, and you all are delivering. And our workforce shortage in the active duty workforce, the reserve workforce, there's challenges also in the auxiliary workforce. So we will continue to work together to work on recruiting for the auxiliary workforce. We will continue to work together on the active duty workforce. And I just have great faith in our great nation that over time we're going to see fit to fill those ranks back up so we can do the things that we really need to get after to do. But in the meantime, we're going to work together to continue to serve the public to the high standard that they expect and the standards that we expect of ourselves. And you all are just 100% a large part of making that happen. So thank you very much.
Admiral, a small token of our appreciation.
Oh, thanks so much.
Now that you're here in the Pacific Northwest, you got to have a bunch blast.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well, I think the district commander did a fabulous job of teeing up that we're moving into recognition, so I don't have to do a whole lot of work. It's perfect. I love it. So we're going to move into the awards section of our presentation. Where's the Chief of Staff? There you are, sir. Are you ready for this? Would you come forward, and we'll get started. Admiral, would you join us? And Commodore. Just had to reframe for our friends joining us remotely. Well, I think as we talk about meeting the mission objectives of the Coast Guard, a big part of that is developing diverse membership. And by diversity, we mean many things. But our strength, in many ways, is in the diversity that we bring to the mission. Allows us to address many different audiences across District 13. So what I have to announce tonight are the National Certificates and Awards for the NACO, National Commodore 3-Star Award for Diversity Management. We do not have these certificates, so I am going to read out the divisions and flotillas. So Division 2, including Flotilla 2-2, Flotilla 2-4, and Flotilla 2-5. Division 4 is also receiving the award. In Division 5, we have Division 5, Flotilla 5-1, and Flotilla 5-2. In Division 6, we have Flotilla 6-2. And in Division 8, we have, of course, Division 8. And I would ask that the folks come forward if you are in the room, and if not, I would ask the division commander to come forward for these. These are the 2021 Century Club Awards. I'm sorry? Okay. I'm just reading what it told me, John. The 2022 Century Club Awards. Let's talk a little bit about this. At our core, really our first mission as an auxiliary in 1939 was really focused on recreational boating safety. These Century Club Awards recognize those members who've done 100 vessel exams, right? So these are the folks doing that core message. So in Division 1, I have from Flotilla 11, Peter Border, and from Flotilla 12, James Maddox. Outstanding.
I'm it for the division. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. That's great. You want to get pictures with it individually? Well, okay. Come on up. I want you to stand in between us. Well, we'll do a quick picture.
We're recognizing 2 members from Division 4. From Flotilla 41, Gene Fuke, and from Flotilla 45, Robert Hancock. Can I have... And Gail, before they take that picture, would you see if you can fix your name tag?
Oh, my goodness.
You popped a...
I hope someone else fixed theirs earlier today.
Could have been me. I don't know.
I think that's straight.
All right, thank you, Chaplain.
Try that.
We're recognizing 4 members from Division 5. From Flotilla 51, Daniel McCarran. From Flotilla 52, and I know Norm has been here, Norm Hoffman. From Flotilla 54, Thomas Murphy and Paula Bokeman.
One picture with all of them together. There we go.
From Division 6, Flotilla 62, Robert Gorski. Flotilla 63, John Kostick. Flotilla 66, Andre Valthier and Matt Epstein. Perfect. From Division 7, and if you're getting 50 cents every time John Sturr's name gets mentioned, you get another one. From Flotilla 732 members, John Sturr and Jim Fensky, both of whom are here.
John, I misplaced your certificate, I'm sorry. I will give it to you. We'll give it to you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. From Division 8, Flotilla 8-4, James Doug Harris. Flotilla 8-5, Linda Severin. Flotilla 8-7, Bev Hannibal and Mark Hannibal. And our final Century Club Award winner from Division 11, Flotilla 11-4, Scott Prestel. Great. We're going to move into the Commodore's Certificates of Appreciation. What I'd like to have happen is if the members here have them come forward. If not, if the division commander could come forward and receive the award on their behalf. With that comes the promise you're actually going to transmit it to them. So, I didn't really say that, did I? So Commodore Certificate of Appreciation to Michael Bro of Flotilla 2-4. Thank you, sir. From Flotilla 7-8, Henry Phillips. Okay, we're going to have to change roles here for a second. Semper Paratus, right? Thank you. Richard Pinchas from Flotilla 2-2. Richard, apparently you didn't get out of having your photo taken after all. Yeah. From Flotilla 2-2, we have Diana Shaw. Tiny, here's your next 50 cents. From Flotilla 7-3, Mr. John Sturr. Our final award of the evening is the Flotilla Meritorious Achievement Medal. This is given to the members of the flotilla that's been deemed to be the flotilla of the year within the district. So I'm going to read the names of the members. I know at least one of them's here. Where are you? So the awarded flotilla is Flotilla 11-4, including Craig Hartman, Carrie Ballard, Merton Burns, Terry Clinton, Jane Dixon, Ronnie Fritz, Camille Hollum, Stephen Lee, Mark Lewis, Stephen Merrill, Mark Poster, Scott Prestel, Joseph Tendleton, and Paul Whalen. Scott, we know you're here. Yeah, I think they both need to be in there. Admiral, Commodore, thank you very much. I got to say, the District Chief of Staff picked a really weird job if he wants to stay out of the photographs. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our awards ceremony. And now I've run into having too much paper. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So thank you very much for being here tonight. This actually closes our formal program, so I would like to, okay, I heard something over there and I was like, I'd like to thank the Admiral for being here, captains, the DIROCs, thank you, Commander, District Chief of Staff. We're going to move on to the raffle. So thank you very much for being here. Let's continue to enjoy the fellowship. We'll pause for just a second if you'd like to refill your drinks before we get on with the raffle. You might want to circulate and have a look at some of the lovely prizes that we have there. And I'm sure that somebody's going to come around with more tickets. So we'll take about 5 minutes. Does that meet the needs, sir?